Yeah, looked good, didn't it? Trailer looked good, definitely did. But with all classic fighting game announcements, we were left hanging in a lot of stuff. So you just wait for the third announcement. That was kind of within expected range anyway. And then we'll actually get maybe the PC requirements. Who's the base roster? Is there going to be a beta? Stuff like that. But hey, you saw the number of characters that were in the game, or currently revealed. If there was a beta right now, with only those characters, who would you play? Would it be Jin? Classic Jin Kazama? Or are you gonna go for the Kazuya? If not one of the Mishimas, maybe some Jun Kazama. Haven't seen her in the game for quite some time. There's Jack, there's King. Law and Paul, take your pick. You know, when I first saw Law, I thought that was Forrest. But then I saw the 3 marks on the chest and I was like, it's Marshall. So that's the characters, right? You know what's more important? The mechanics. So they teased some mechanics. Some pretty important mechanics, mind you. And if you got to read the article explaining like some of the new stuff in the game. Just some. They didn't give out all the details, but we can speculate easy based on the information we're given. So there's 2 main things, you know, that they added. They're adding wall interactions now, or stage interactions. So when you saw King do F2-1 against Jack, that was clearly a stage interaction. So my question is it a one-time stage interaction, or is it a multiple times you can do it over and over again? Because DOA has certain stages where it's only one-time use, and then there's a couple of other stages where you can do it all the time. Of course, you can't reuse it twice in a combo, but you can use it as many times in the match, provided, you know, you splat them there first, right? Because the stage gimmicks Tekken has currently is the limited ones, like the wall break, the balcony break, floor break, which is cool. But it seems like they're adding more, right? And DOA is like, always has that, ever since. So that's one. The second one is heat action. Oh no. That one I am scared for. Very scared for. When you watch the trailer, Law does heat action with like rage art. Again, since they didn't show rage, it's confusing to me what they're gonna do with heat and rage. I'm gonna assume that they're keeping rage, so that means you can do a rage art and a rage drive, since Paul did his rage art in the trailer. We do not see a glimpse of rage drive at all. Because when Law did his nunchucks thing, and then the heat disappeared afterwards, I was like, that's involved with this new aura? Because it's not red, because rage is red, right? It's synonymous with rage, in Tekken at least. And then when Jin did it, when Lars did his off FF3, it disappeared, right? Into a full combo. When Jin did his, it didn't disappear, and that was on block. You know how worrying that is? That was basically the wall crush, it seems. Because it seems like it only disappears on hit. It doesn't disappear on block. And my issue with it is that let's not concern ourselves with meter just yet. We'll get the meter. We'll get to the meter part eventually. Let's say heat does not involve meter. Let's say it's a 1 round kind of thing, or 1 game kind of thing. I don't know. 1 round makes sense to me. If it's not that, right? Like, always on hit? I mean, obviously we didn't see all the other, heat moves, right? So for Lars, it's clearly FF3. For Laws, it's whatever that was for extra damage. On the rage art or heat art, I don't know. Because it's clearly not rage. So when Jin did Devil FF2, assuming that's Devil FF2, I mean, he had the wings. You could see some of the, mixed in devil form, including for Kazuya. It didn't disappear, and you saw how much plus frames he got. I'm assuming those are plus frames, because they most likely are. If it doesn't disappear on block, you already know wall crushes, right? When wall crushes first dropped, it was kind of crazy. Now I don't see wall crushes as often anymore, and wall crushes aren't really, they don't feel like a threat. So if this is a way to boost it as a threat, it's just like, whoa, you did a little bit too much there. Because imagine getting looped by Jin FF2 all the time. What am I supposed to do? That's a rage drive, man. That's a rage drive over and over again. That's like Leo or Paul Death Fist every single time, and they can always lock you in with another heat action. So it's like Dragunov running two, and then you get hit because you press the button. Of course, that's assuming if it works that way, right? Which I hopefully it does not work that way. The other thing that makes sense to me, if heat action is not like that, is that meter will come into the game. Unfortunately. As much as I don't want meter to come into the game, meter might come into the game. So you get to build up your heat, right? So to speak, to do heat actions. And that is mainly the moves that give you... It's basically just a rage drive, right? That's really what it is. Gives you extra damage, more plus frames, everything, whatnot. That's essentially what it feels like. But you're gonna gain meter. There's gonna be a heat bar at the bottom. It's going to be meter, at least 1 or 2 bars. What's more interesting to me is that if you mix heat and rage together, that's very, very interesting. Because they didn't show rage at all. Now, obviously, Paul did not have the aura when he was doing his rage art, which kind of says that they're separate. But in the assumption that they are together, right? In the assumption that they are together, that means if you don't have 2 bars of heat, let's assume it's 2 bars of heat, right? You can't panic RA. And you know what that means for Horang? Oh, I'm gonna have the best time of my life. Because you can't panic RA out of pressure anymore. I'm just gonna keep going after your butt over and over again. Like if I know you only have 1 bar of meter, and that only allows you to do a rage drive or a heat drive, I'm gonna go after you because you can't do RA. assuming heat action is the meter. I'm not happy that it's gonna be meter. That's why it's in the assumption. Oh. No, it's not a Horang buff. It's a buff for everyone in Tekken because it's really, quite honestly, it is annoying to put up an opponent in rage. Of course, you learn how to deal with it, you get good at the game, yada yada yada. But it gets really annoying that you got stopped by an RA sometimes. Of course, we've had hype moments because of it, yes. And I'm here for that. But as a player, sometimes it gets a little, you know, it's just a hassle. It's stressful sometimes. Now, my other concern with that heat action, right, is the fact that they're gearing the game to make it more aggressive. Now, people are already saying, and I kind of understand where they're coming from, that Tekken 7 is a very aggro game. The movement was nerfed, which is important because that helped you avoid a lot of stuff in neutral and in defensive situations. And with how heat action looks and with adding new stage interactions for extra damage, it's just like, yeah, it seems like you're pushing the game through an aggro, more aggro. And in that article where they said the heat action or heat system, they specifically said they're making the game more aggressive. I'm like, why? Not gonna lie, it's pretty stressful to play a very aggro game. Tekken 7 is already kind of fast-paced, more so compared to Tag 2. Well, again, Tag 2 had 2 life bars, right? So, but Tekken 7's already pretty fast-paced. You're gonna make it even more fast-paced? You mean I have to guess a 50-50 over a 50-50 over and over again? Like, my question is, how does the heat mechanic work? That is the most important part to me. Because if that, in the same article, you're gonna say that you want to make the game more aggressive, which to me, the game already feels more aggro to begin with. Where is the room for neutral and defense? Like, what am I gonna do? It's tough already. How am I gonna defend myself when there's more? Oh, I didn't confirm. Do you want a more aggro game? Tekken 7's already pretty aggro. Do you want a more aggro game? Do you? I don't. Personally, I don't. I'm okay. Like, this is fine. Increasing it more? Oh, no. I might as well just play Dragon Ball FighterZ at that point. So that's like the main mechanic thing. Whether that will turn into meter or a 1-round use or one-time use, etc, etc, etc. We don't know how it coincides with Rage. That's the problem. But we'll probably hear about that in the 3rd announcement. Again, it's fighting game announcements. You know how it works. Did you not realize when they called it heat action? Do you know where heat action is from? It comes from this game called Yakuza, like a dragon. Oh no. You know what that means. It's called Heat, baby. It's called Heat. And there's gonna be a new Yakuza game coming out, right? And when they brought Noctis in Tekken 7, it was apparently for marketing purposes for the last DLC, I think, of FF15. So they're releasing 2 new Yakuza games, right? And they're calling it Heat Action, right? I'm not crazy, right? I'm not crazy for thinking this. Exactly, it says Heat System, doesn't it? It's literally right there in the text. It's in the fine print. No, you can't lie to me. No, the guest character must be a Yakuza character. I know who's coming. It's gonna be Kiryu and Ichiban. Bring both. They're both the main characters of the next game, right? They're duo antagonists. Hell, even if you just bring one. I have a high feeling, high probability that they are the guest characters, the first guest characters in the game. Like, come on, why are you calling it Heat? Regardless of how the mechanic will work, it's called Heat. Heat system, bro. The heat system. Did you know that the aura's kind of bluish or purplish? And if you check in Yakuza, the Yakuza games, when you have heat, what color is Kiryu glowing? It's definitely the same one, blue/purplish. It's so obvious. I'm pretty sure. I'm betting it all in that halata, that's Kiryu and Ichiban. It's 100% a Yakuza character coming into the game, and they gave them a mechanic pa. And they're like, you know what? They learned from their mistakes. Instead of bringing in the 2D character and then they are the only ones with meter, they're like, no. Give the mechanic to everyone. Para fair, right? Fortunate though. Oh no, that was bad. This is dead. Knowing your cheese.